Hello everyone, welcome to the workout today. Some of you have probably been doing workouts with me forever over on Facebook. Many of you may be happy to see me because you have been begging me to get the workouts off Facebook because you are not on Facebook. And some of you may be brand new to these workouts. So just a couple of things before we get started so you know what you're in for. Obviously, we're doing a workout, you're going to be moving your body, you're going to be working your body. But above all of that, the intent behind these exercises is to really get you to be a lot more aware of how you're moving your body. So I'm going to be doing a lot of yammering and talking as I do a movement because it's less about what the exercise is and more about how you are feeling it. And I'm going to start throwing a bunch of cues out there, and some will really click for you to sort of challenge the way that you may be moving and see if you can move in a different way that works muscles that maybe you're not working as much as you'd like to be. The intent is also to work more of those deep stabilizing muscles, the muscles we tend to not work well on our own. We've got 3 sets of muscles. You've got your deep stabilizers, you've got sort of your mid-range, they're stabilizing muscles, they also move us, and then we've got sort of our big, showy, superficial muscles that are meant to move us. That last category tends to be the ones we do with traditional workouts, and that deeper layer of muscles tends to get neglected a bit, and that's where our joints start to bark at us or we start to get pain. And as a physio, I'm often prescribing exercises to work those deep stabilizers, and it's a great habit to get into, to be working them on the regular. And that is how these workouts were born, as a way for people to follow along, be accountable to themselves, and also for me to do these exercises because Lord knows I'm not the best patient. So without further ado, we're going to get going. I'm going to try and keep them to about 20 minutes. We're really going to focus on specific muscle groups as we work, and by popular demand, the request for our first workout in this format is our glutes. So get ready to work those booties, all right? So everyone come on up into standing. And this is a common movement I do at the beginning of all workouts. If you've done my workouts before, you know I love this one. And if you are someone who tends to get a lot of stiffness through the hips, this is a great movement to get in the pattern of. And all I'm doing is I'm spreading my legs wide and I'm doing like a figure 8 with my pelvis. And if you can visualize in your mind's eye of your hip joint, and instead of moving our legs to loosen our hip, we're reversing that. So our legs are planted and we're sort of moving our pelvis over top of our hip, essentially. And you'll find you get to maybe certain spots in that figure 8 motion where it feels a little catchy or a little pinchy, and you just kind of milk that movement a little bit. So for me, it's more in my left hip. It probably looks right on the screen. And as I come over to this side back movement, it just feels a bit sticky. And so I'm just going to work that out a little bit. You guys, I do this in like the line at the grocery store. I do it waiting to pick my kids up. People probably think I'm a little bit of a lunatic. I don't care. Moving my body. You may hear some like pops and snaps and cracks as you do this. Do not worry too much about it, especially if it's not painful. Sometimes it's a good relief. And then really exaggerate that movement back. Feel the back of the legs stretch out there a little bit. Inner thigh a little bit, kind of working this back portion. Get those legs moving. Okay, let's get into our workout. Now that we're a bit more limber, you're going to come into standing and you're going to have your feet about hip width apart, okay? I'm going to say this ad nauseum, but when you are standing on your feet, you want to have equal weight between your little toe, your big toe, and your heel. Think of it like a triad in your foot. As we start doing work and we're moving our bodies, what most people will probably find is that you start to cave in more towards that big toe. So be super aware in your head of where your weight is on that foot and get in a good practice of not gripping through the toes and keeping that weight centered. So just as I'm doing here, you're going to lift the opposite leg up. Really focus again where that weight is in the foot. Give a slight bend to the standing knee. And then in this position here, you're just going to gently rock back and forth. So think of your torso and your leg as one unit. I'll show you this from the side. So here's how I look, bend in the standing leg, and I'm just hinging back and forth. The only breaking point is where my hip and my pelvis meet here. Okay, and that's what's driving the motion. When you do this, you should start to feel things light up on that standing leg glute. And just move back and forth here. You can start to extend the movement a little bit. It really does not matter how far you go. I don't want this to turn into much more of a balance exercise than a glute exercise. So if you feel like you're falling all over the place, rein it in, tiny movement. You'll still get lots of work happening there. Okay? Good. Now you're going to sort of pause where you feel like you can hold the motion. The hinge. The more hinge, the more the challenge, or the more you'll feel your glutes. But again, I don't want you to feel like you're falling over. And then from here, you're going to bring the gesture leg up, knee up, and then extend it back. The challenge with this is to keep the exact same position through the rest of your body. So I'm not sort of curling in and lifting up as I do this. I stay in that nice hinge, and I am just bending and straightening. Good. Keep going here. Keep breathing. Sing to yourself. Talk if you need to make sure that you're breathing. 4. Nice and slow. 3. Should be starting to feel a burn in that standing leg. 2. 1. Now you're going to do quick little motions. This is more challenging because your body's really going to want to move with you. And this is where your glutes, those stability muscles, are working super hard to keep the rest of you stable. Again, you may be up here doing this. You may be way down here. Whatever works for you to challenge you without losing the technique. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come back. I'm going to come back to facing you. You're probably in the same position. Keep standing on that same leg. So ideally, you're feeling the burn kind of in around that hip. You may feel lots of work in your calf or the outside of your lower leg. That's okay. This will start to get, as you practice these exercises, you'll start to be able to really zero in on the muscles that are designed to be worked, if that makes sense. Good. So what you're going to do here is we're just changing the plane of motion. Super important to work kind of multi-dimensionally around that hip and pelvis. We tend to do exercises that are in the sort of forward plane, frontal plane, and this is really important to kind of work right around. So all I'm doing here is exact same thing as I was doing with this. So as my leg lifts up, my torso moves at the same rate. So I'm one straight line. I still have a bend in this standing leg, or the bend even in the other leg. And I'm just creating small movement around this hip. Almost like the hip is the pivot point. Not almost, it is. Hips are pivot point, and we're just moving over top of it. 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, 2, and 1, and then little movements here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come off. Hopefully you're feeling a good burn. I'm feeling in my glute. My calf is feeling it a bit. It kind of started the day tight, so lots of work is trying to go there. But definitely the hero here should be your glute. Okay, so give it a little punch. If you are not feeling this at all in your glute, you're like, I don't know what Meg's talking about, not feeling it here, it's likely that those muscles need to be woken up in your body, okay? So you want to be trying to play around with these exercises, figure out which ones sort of target that area, and then hammer it, meaning you're going to work that muscle so that your brain starts to connect to it, okay? So third one here, we're rotating. So think of our leg as the pivot point, but now we're rotating like a rotisserie chicken around it, okay? Really focus on where the weight is in that foot, in the standing foot, and move your body and your leg at the same rate. 8, lots of work here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then you're going to switch to the other leg now. Give a little punch. I got to refresh my screen here. You guys, if you don't know me already, tech is like, gives me sweats because it rarely works well for me, or maybe I just don't know enough about it. And so doing these kinds of things, totally out of my comfort zone, because this shit seems to always let me down, or I let it down, I'm not really sure. Okay, going back to the beginning with the opposite leg now. So again, plant yourself on opposite leg, think of where your weight is in that foot, and slight bend through the knee. We're hinged forward through the pelvis, and we're kicking back, and up. Okay, so you're hinging forward, and then stay in this forward position, and that leg is moving back and forth. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Now quicker movements here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Go right into our second movement here. Ooh, leg. And we're moving that leg out to the side. Again, our upper body moves with us. We're like one giant plank here. Everything moves together. Lots of control with this. So you don't want to be sort of like snapping yourself in and out at any point. And this sort of goes with all stability exercises. If I ask you to pause, you should be able to pause anywhere in that movement and have control of it. So use that as a bit of an assessment of how well you're executing the exercise. 8, 7, 6, 5. Really focus your mind's eye right into that hip. 4, my calf's really trying to take over here. 2, so I really got to focus my movement here. 1, and then the quick movements. 8, 7, there we go. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And then into our third movement, bring that leg up, and then we were rotating around this hip. 8. Oh, this one really gets in there for me. 7, 6, 5, 4, balance is a bit trickier. 3, if you need to put one finger on something, you can, but only a finger's touch. 1, and then quick little movements here. I'm going to rein in my movement a bit because I'm losing control. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring that leg down. Give your glute a little love, a little punch. And then you're going to grab a stool, a step, a chair. You can use your staircase at home. Doesn't really matter. You just don't want it too high, okay? So if you're using a chair, make sure it's a lower one, and make sure it can support your body weight. So what you're going to do here is you're going to put one leg back onto the step, okay? And what you want to be sure of is that your step is not so wide that you have to arch through your back just to stand up straight. Meaning, if I was to take a long step and put that leg there, for me to get my upper body straight, I really have to arch through my back. So I'm going to back it up, and here I can stand, my pelvis is neutral, my back is neutral. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? And then what you're going to do here is you're bending and driving the motion with your front leg. So your back leg is essentially up on the step just to take it out of the picture. My body's nice and straight, and I'm bending with that front leg, and then I'm coming back up. So this is a really good precursor or practice to doing a single leg squat, but I've got the stability of my back leg, it's just it has no real weight through it, and up. And I really want you to focus on the front leg. Keep yourself rooted through those 3 spots in the foot, down, and then really push through the foot to drive the movement up. Okay, so really thoughtful with the way you're doing this. Coming down, push through that foot up. The more you kind of push down through the ground, the more you should feel that leg come to life. to push you back up. This one's really important for all those people who struggle getting up off the floor without getting someone to pull them or really using their arms. Okay, so being able to push through that forward foot and lift yourself up. Good, let's do a few more here. 8, 7, I like to exhale on the way up. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come down, come up, stay with this leg forward, and then you're going to tilt forward and lift that back leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and hold it there if you can. Little tiny pulses through the front leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. You know what's happening. We're switching legs up. Other side. Again, make sure in your setup you can stand nice and tall without having to arch through your back to get into that position. For me, it's a little tighter on this side to keep that alignment. Good. Ribs are over top of pelvis. And here we go. We go down. Now, one thing to make mention of, everyone seems to have in their head that front knee cannot go past the toes. It's sort of like a widespread cue in the fitness industry. And sure, it definitely adds more load to the knee. So if you find going really deep into this, it bothers your front knee, rein in your range of motion so you're not going as far down. But it's super functional. There's many, many times in life we require that knee or to load our leg with our knee out past our toes. So it's actually a really good movement to train. Just play with what your boundaries are in terms of range of motion. Good. And push up through that foot. And I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing, but the more thoughtful you are with the movement, you're not just going through the motions, the more you're going to feel those deep muscles kind of support you and dial in. Good. Let's do 8 here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I also really tease trainers where their only job is to just count reps for people, and then I find myself on these videos just counting reps. Okay, so same position here, and then lift that back leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hover the leg if you can, or just touch the toe down if you need it, and then little pulses with that front leg. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then come up. Perfect. Last set we're going to do here for both sides, obviously, is use your step, use your chair. You're going to put your foot up on it. This is probably the height of 1.5 steps. And that's sort of as high as I want to go. So if you're using a chair, you may need to back down to a stair with this. And what you're going to do is put your foot up, and again, if your leg is too high that you have to tilt your body, then it's too high. You should be able to keep your body straight and still have your leg up. So it depends for each person what the flexibility of this leg is like. As you do this exercise, you're going to see the higher your leg is, the harder the challenge. So what you're going to do here, put your hands on your pelvis or hips. If you need one finger for balance on something, go wild, but try to keep it to a minimum. Slight bend in the standing leg. Transfer 98% of your weight to the standing leg. So this foot has just a feather touch through it. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, lift that leg up if you can, minimizing the amount your upper body has to move away from it. Okay, so this, ideal. This, not so much, okay? We're not Karate Kid, we're not doing karate chops yet. You're really, and your foot may just hover a centimeter, that's okay. It's working deep, 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 deep in those glutes. in a range that's really challenging. So we're putting the muscle on in a shortened position, which makes it really hard for it to contract, but a great challenge for stabilizing in and around that hip. Make sure this leg has a slight bend to it. Hover that leg, breathe, and down. Let's do 3 more here. Up and down. Keep going. Up and down. Good. Last one. Lift up. Hold it if you can. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We're going to switch to the other side when the screensaver comes on. And what often people notice is there's a discrepancy side to side doing this exercise. So one side feels relatively easy to lift the leg. The other side, they have to like bring their foot almost down to ground level to do this, which by the way is totally acceptable if you need to. I'd rather you do it well, small range of motion, than trying to do the movement exactly as I am and lose the whole form. Okay, so the idea is everything here stays still. Deep breath in, weight is over on this leg, slight bend in the standing knee, and then we are hovering that leg up and down, up and down, up and down. Good. 4, 3, 2, and then hold that leg up if you can. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring that leg down. I did say this was the last one, but I really feel like we have to like end on a bit of a burner. Okay, so bring your legs nice and wide. Shove that right out of the way so you can see. So they're like double hip width probably. Turn your feet out as far as you can, whereby when you squat down, you can see all 5 toes on the inside of your knees. Meaning if my feet are really far turned out and I look down, I cannot see my toes. They're like behind my knees. So bring it in. And the whole time you're doing this exercise, think of your knees going back behind you, like opening up through the knees. That's where you'll get a nice little burn in through those glutes. So you're gonna come down nice and low. You'll probably feel a bit of a pull through the groin. Push those legs open, feel the glutes dial up. And then from here, we're just gonna go side to side. Good. We're gonna aim to do this for about 30 seconds. Okay, we're gonna change the movement slightly as we go. Side to side, really try to not let your body pop up. Your quads are gonna feel it too. If they start to take over, push those knees back and you'll feel the glutes come to attention again. Good. Now move to a little bounce up and down, tiny movement here. Good, keep going. Feel the sweat starting to run down your back, like me. And then go back to our first movement. Keep it low. Everyone's probably starting to lift up. Keep it low. 5, 4, 3, 2. We're not done yet. Try lifting those toes up, hovering the heels, and little pulses here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Push those knees out. 2. Hold. Feel it all. Feel those legs really working for you. And then bring it up nice and tall and shake everything out. You can go back to that initial movement we do. You should feel like that figure 8 feels silky smooth. Those hips are nice and lubricated and hot and on fire. And your glutes are at attention. So thank you for joining. It's a quick little workout. There will be another one posted next week, likely a core workout. So I hope you will join in. Adios.